to help the body produce antibodies to fight the novel coronavirus. If initial tests are successful, the trial will be expanded to include thousands more participants worldwide. Chinese authorities say China is making efforts to trace COVID-19 patient zero, but it's a challenging task. Patient zero is often used to refer to the first person infected with the virus in an epidemic. It's believed that tracing COVID-19 patient zero is of great value to virus source tracing, epidemic control, and prevention for the next epidemic. A research team led by the Yale School of Public Health is suggesting that the death toll from the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States is significantly higher than what's been reported. The team recorded an estimated 15,400 excess deaths, nearly 2 times as many as were publicly attributed to COVID-19 in early weeks of the pandemic. The excess numbers of COVID-19 victims include those who died at home without being confirmed, and some died because they were afraid to seek medical treatment for unrelated illnesses. In the New York State, excluding New York City, the Yale analysis shows about 1,700 more residents than would be expected had died as of April the 4th, and approximately 2,200 more than would be expected in New Jersey. The head of the World Health Organization is warning that the current COVID-19 pandemic is far from over, and the number of confirmed cases might be underreported in some countries due to lack of testing capacity. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says although some containment measures have successfully suppressed coronavirus transmission in many countries, the virus remains extremely dangerous.
I continue to call for the world to come together in solidarity and national unity to confront this pandemic, but also to prevent the next one and to build a healthier, safer, fairer world for everyone, everywhere.
It's also urging European countries to be cautious while easing their containment measures. The United States said it was ready to recognize Israel's annexation of much of the West Bank, but asked the new unity government to negotiate with the Palestinians. U.S. President Donald Trump gave the green light to annexations in January. His Middle East plan would let Israel annex Jewish settlements in the West Bank. The Palestinians would be granted a sovereign but demilitarized state along with promises of major investment. They've refused to negotiate with the Trump administration. China has 904 million internet users as of March this year. Over 99% of them, or 897 million people, are accessing the internet through mobile phones. The number of internet users in China's rural areas stood at 255 million. Online video users account for 94% of China's internet population. The majority of them are short video users. Chinese authorities have announced a plan to pilot a registration-based initial public offering system on Shenzhen startup board, the Chinext. The China Securities Regulatory Commission says the registration system will help deepen capital market reform. The reform plan includes specific rules on disclosure, corporate governance, and equity-based incentives. And that's the news. I'm Sui.
Capturing images of people across China, exploring its ever-changing lifestyles, and feeling the heartbeat of its villages, towns, and cities. This is Selfie. This is Selfie, giving you real-life stories in China.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Selfie. I'm your host, Tony Reed. Hair, painting, and embroidery. Can you imagine combining these 3 elements to create a new artwork? Well, it's these 3 elements that some Chinese artists have combined with their expert craftsmanship. Called hair embroidery, this kind of craft is being promoted in Suzhou, a city famous for its rich cultural heritage and delicate traditional craftsmanship. Now let's follow Wu Jia to the city and find out exactly what hair embroidery is.
Suzhou Museum, in the center of the old town of Suzhou, is always packed with tourists and visitors during its opening hours. Tapping into the rich cultural heritage of the city, the various kinds of exhibitions in the museum are fascinating to people from home and abroad who want to find out about Suzhou's history and culture. In one of the exhibition halls, Nell Greenhouse from England is impressed with what she's seen.
It's fascinating. You can use hair to bring out such lively embroidery. It's really, really interesting, and I'm quite astounded by how, at first look, it looks like it's been drawn, right? It's so intricate, and then you look closer and you suddenly realize it's actually been sewn.
Greenhouse is talking about an exhibition of famous traditional Chinese paintings recreated through embroidery. Called Zhou Yinghua's Art of Hair Embroidery, the exhibition has on show some 20 artworks depicting Buddhist images or scenes of daily life in ancient China. Zhou Yinghua, creator of these artworks, says Buddhism was the original source of inspiration for hair embroidery.
发绣，因为我还是刚开始的发绣吧，我还是以那个佛像为主。
At the beginning, my hair embroidery works were all of Buddhist images. You know, originally, hair embroidery was connected with Buddhism. In ancient China, hair embroiderers were very pious about their work. Before they sat down and began to stitch, the embroiderers had to wash their hands and get the incense burning to show their respect to Buddha.
Hair embroidery dates back about 1,300 years and originates from the Tang Dynasty. Then, women Buddhist believers used their hair to embroider Buddhist images to show their piety. In ancient China, hair was seen as a sacred part of the human body. Cutting hair and using it to embroider Buddhist images with it showed great respect and devotion by embroiderers who believed in Buddhism. Zhou Yinghua, herself a Buddhist, says most of her early works are reproductions of existing historic paintings. But she says the process still involves changes and creativity.
找了素材呢，有的素材是可以就是你直接用的，有的素材是要我们从
Some of the source paintings we've discovered can be easily adapted to hair embroidery, but for others, we have to recreate their lines and patterns. Take this Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara image, for example. We had to recreate the lines of the original painting. It's a color mirror of the Fahai Temple in Beijing. So the original painting was about color and had few sharp lines. When we embroidered this painting, we had to sketch the lines and then use hair to emulate the painting.
It would be reasonable for a layman to ask whether the Bodhisattva image was done with ink and color or work embroidered with hair. Zhou emphatically allays these doubts and says the artwork is entirely made of hair.
The whole picture was made with hair, and all of the hair in the picture is original, not dyed. For the whole picture, only the seal is in color. For the white robe worn by Bodhisattva, I used white hair.
One of Zhou's masterpieces is a reproduction of the teachings of Vimalakirti, a very famous scroll created in the Song dynasty some 800 years ago. The scroll depicts a Buddhist story celebrating the supremely wise layman Vimalakirti, who provided canonical proof that enlightenment and salvation were possible even for believers who remained outside the monastic orders. The scroll portrays Vimalakirti seated on a dais, preaching to his audience. He is depicted with the attributes of a traditional Confucian scholar: long beard, fly whisk, and armrest. Zhou Yinghua says her version of the picture expresses a three-dimensional effect using thick, thin, dark, light, straight, or curly hairs. This masterpiece won a Golden Prize in 2007 at a national competition held by the China Arts and Crafts Association. But how do hair embroidery artists like Zhou produce such pictures? Zhou explains that most of the steps are similar to ordinary embroidery, which uses silk or other kinds of threads. But there are two major steps that differ from ordinary embroidery when hair is used.
第一个是头发，头发我们不是任何的头发都能做的。
The first step is to choose the hair. Not every kind of hair can be used in this embroidery. It must be from a young person and longer than 40 centimeters. It should be in its original state, not dyed. After we collect the hair, it will be processed. It must be steeped in egg whites for 2 hours. This allows us to extract the protein from the hair. Afterwards, we wash and clean the hair. Then we dye it according to the colors we need.
Zhou adds that the canvas for hair embroidery has to be specially made.
那么第二个呢，我们做那个上奔架。
The second step is to get the canvas ready and fix it in a standing frame. This step is the same as that in silk embroidery, but hair embroidery is more delicate than silk embroidery when it comes to drawing the draft sketches of the picture you want on the canvas before you embroider. So we must process the canvas using a special procedure in case the ink of the sketches on the canvas fades.
When the canvas is ready, Zhou says she will get down to drawing the sketches of the patterns she wants with a Chinese calligraphy brush. After that, the delicate embroidery begins and takes about a month, even for the smallest of pieces. Rolling, wrapping, cutting and connecting. In Zhou's hands, the needle and hair become the ink and brush of an artist.
As Zhou Yinghua concentrates on making her artworks with needle and hair, we wonder how she first got involved in this time-consuming craft. All will be revealed in the second part of our story. Now let's take a short break. Stay tuned.
Capturing images of people across China, exploring its ever-changing lifestyles, and feeling the heartbeats of its villages, towns, and cities. This is Selfie. This is Selfie, giving you real-life stories in China.